Are we ready? Are we ready, kids? Yes! If it wasn't apparent, today we are sponsored by HelloFresh. So use the code and the command in the chat to get 16 meals and 3 surprises with my code. Go ahead, do it. It supports me and you. All for 35 bucks. 16 meals, 3 special little gifts. That's a good deal, baby. You better do that with my code. Okay? How we doing, chat? I'm gonna take this sleeve off so you can get into this gorgeous rhinestone turtleneck. Hi, Egg. Hello, Fresh. Do we have our first notification? Slayage. Go ahead. Thank you for supporting. Thanks for signing up using my code. Let's go. Thank you for benefiting me and you, baby. I don't know who it was because, you know, I set this up as I was getting ready and everything's kind of up in the air. But we have 4 minutes until the state of play, so let's head on over to that screen and we will watch the state of play together. Yes, just everybody remember that today we are watching the state of play. Also, we are sponsored by HelloFresh, so go ahead and use my code. Go ahead and type that number in. It says it somewhere on the screen, somewhere in the chat. I have no idea what the code is. It is POGPOG SE2465. Get 16 free meals and 3 surprise gifts. I forgot you'd be live so early. I'm here just for you. I'm live streaming early just for you, Arrow. You heard it here first. Thanks, Safety. I never get to wear this shirt. I mean, this dress. And it has like peacock feathers at the bottom, but you can't see them. I'm gonna turn this max volume so we get full volume during the presentation. How are we doing, everybody? Hope everybody's having an amazing day. Oh! That was like when Wendy burps and farted. Do you know that clip I'm talking about? She's like, oh, sorry. Thank you. Here, I'll try to show it. I hope I don't flash the stream, but like, you can see like the pretty peacock feathers. Thanks for coming out, everybody. The presentation. I need my caffeine. Presentation. We'll be live in 2 minutes. Everything look and sound okay? We got any issues, let me know. Hi, Oscar. Hi, Mia. Hi, Arrow. Hi, Zeno. Hi, Safety. Egg, thank you so much for the 9 months of subscription. Gray, thanks for coming in. Hi, Cole. Hi, Amy. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming out today. Hey, Mar, have you watched the show? I ran into one of my IRLs today and they said, do you like the RuPauls? I went, yeah. I do? I love the RuPauls. Not plural. Hopefully not. Michelle is typing, please. Well, I was watching Roscoe's and it was like, Layla was like, we can't just like get rid of a color, Michelle. I was like, spell Layla, go off. I love Layla. Hi, Marshy. We got 51 seconds, chat. What are we expecting? What are we anticipating? I have no idea. But also, you have 50 seconds, but also the entirety of the stream to sign up with HelloFresh. Get 16 free. Well, it's not free. You pay $35, but you get a lot of meals for $35. You get 16, and then you get 3 little surprises with my code, and you can find info in the chat. Go ahead and sign up now. Benefits me and you. That's pretty good if you're trying to try out HelloFresh or you're trying to do some new food eating. I mean, come on now. That's a really good deal. See, like, I would probably do it, actually. We got 13 seconds. Good morning, Talos. 8 seconds. It's begun. Is that the plural? Begun. Perfect use of that, by the way.
Hello, viewers. I am Ivy, the android. I'd like to share today's dinosaur forecast.
Not dinosaur.
A dinosaur outbreak will soon occur. Residents in the affected area have been evacuated.
Resident sleeper.
A team of exo fighters has been dispatched.
Just kidding, I know Pip loves these games.
A vortex warning has been issued. Please remain indoors.
We're in gloss today. It's kind of an issue. No, I think it's Dinosaur Crisis. Yeah, it's Dinosaur Crisis.
I make a sense of this situation.
You've been living fighting the chief directors for 2 years.
All I wanted was to be IBS's
Oh, she's hot.
IBS's latest dinosaur forecasts and exosuit technology were able to keep human casualties to 0. Exosuit
This looks
development
fun.
is proceeding under the guidance of the next-gen AI, Leviathan.
Wow.
Meanwhile, IBS continues to recruit candidates to become new exofighters, humanity's greatest hope.
So what's the price for a game like this? Because I am not paying 60, I'm sorry. Maybe like a 40, maybe like 35. Oh, it's not Dino Crisis. It's just some... Okay.
Another exo-fighter recruit, right? Welcome to IBS.
Oh, that's far out. Y'all got me fucked up.
Play returns with more announcements and updates for your favorite games.
I'll forget about that. Sorry.
We just saw the debut of Exoprimal, a brand new IP from Capcom. It hits PS4 and PS5 next year. Next up,
Thank
let's
you,
get some
Hangry.
eye-popping updates for some fan favorites.
I want to
launching
play this
soon.
so bad, but it's only on PS5, I think. Oh, sorry, let me talk into the mic. Hi, Hangry. Hi, Toshiki Doll. Hi, Kiyoshi. Hi, Liz. I want to play this so bad. It's gonna be on PC. Slay. Oh, I didn't expect it to be so actiony. Oh, he's hot. Wait. No, because he's really hot.
死んだのか。体をよこせ。妹は助けてやる。終わらせるぞ。
The music, I'm throwing my ass back as we oh! She was kind of slayage. Oh! My god, these enemies are scary. Anemones. Anemone. Thanks, Skywolf. The ponytail keeps moving back. We want you to the forefront, sister. Oh my god, that's so soon! Who wants to buy me a PS5? Oh my god. Oh, new Final Fantasy. Well, it's not new, it's the prequel, but... But you know what else is new? Our promo code, and you can buy 16 boxes and 3 surprise boxes on HelloFresh for $35. Go ahead and
Later
use that
today,
code right
visit
now.
PlayStation Store to download a new demo for Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin. Now, let's jump into the world of Forspoken with some all-new gameplay.
Of what? Oh, I remember seeing this.
It is quite beautiful.
Yeah, in a everything here wants to kill you kind of way.
Okay, Slay. Oh. Thank you, Talos. This gameplay looks sexy. I want to play. Sorry. I want to play. Oh my god! What the hell? I want to play. Square Enix, hello.
I'm on top of the world.
And she's gorgeous.
Let's finish this.
You better buckle up. I'm in a whole nother dimension.
October 11th. October.
That was a new look at the sprawling PS5 adventure Forspoken from Luminous Productions. Let's check out some 6v6 action in Gundam Evolution, a fast-paced multiplayer shooter coming to PS4
we're good.
and PS5 later this year.
We're okay. We don't need to see Gundams. Another day. I got like caramel nut or something, I don't know. And I'm like allergic to nuts, so I'm like, that's lovely, but it was the only caramel they have. So I was like, I'll take my chance. Hi Lee, how are you doing, bestie? Yeah, I'm drinking caramel nut. Do you hear me? I'm drinking caramel nut. Thank you, Lee. Sorry, let me... Thank you, Lee Dawson. Oh my god, and I got groceries today. We won. Also, you know what I got today? I ordered my HelloFresh, which you can do right now. If you do exclamation point HelloFresh in chat, you get a promo and a discount with my code and my link. I'm dropping subtle hints that I'm sponsored by HelloFresh today. Was it obvious? Anyways. Oh my god, Undertale. Did anyone else think the Ninja Turtles were hot? I grew up and I thought they were hot. I'm not having the conversation. They're not fur. There's no fur on the Ninja Turtles. Y'all are dumb. Don't come at me and call me that when you don't even know the word. Yeah, fix it. That's what I'm saying. Oh my god, Plant vs. Zombies. I don't know. Yeah, and so is Steve Harvey, and I still want to lick his head. I'm sorry.
Kaiju Brawler Giga Bash comes to PS4 and PS5 later this year. Next, a fan-favorite fighting game makes a beautiful and bizarre return.
What? Give it to me. Give it to me, I'm worth it. Uh-huh, I'm worth it. Oh my god, it's Lost Saga. We won. We won. Not a JoJo game. It literally is a JoJo game! What the fuck?! Another day. Is this a JoJo reference? Another day. Literally, the state of play was funded by Talos OG. No, I want a Dragon Ball Z Budokai 4. I want a 3D 2D fighter. All Stars? I hope Chad Michaels is in there. That is so nice.
Our next two games will take you beyond life and death.
Is this... Oh my god, Little Nightmares 3, we won. I don't know. I'm just saying games. Hi, Cyanetta. What is it with you and Chad? I don't know, we need like a super cut of every time I mention Chad Michaels in a stream. Nothing good. I mean, there was a JoJo game. JoJo 2D fighter. 2D, 3D. Kind of like Soul Calibur and Tekken. I felt my throat have a vibrato. I felt real cool there. I went, ah! Ariana Grande, no, but with burps. When they announced Sly Cooper in this state of play, oh my god, we won. Just kidding. I don't even know what I want from this presentation. I'm kind of just like, woo. Oh, I hit my reflex. They said it was gonna focus on JRPGs, but like, there hasn't been a single one.
In an endless cycle. Fighting.
Is this that stupid Space Lady game again? She sneaks her way into every single fucking presentation. I swear to God, every single State of Play or E3 gaming presentation, this old bitch sneaks her way in. I don't need any more information on this Returnal game. I'm done!
Now I stand before the endless tower. I climb as Sisyphus did, pushing the boulder upward. No matter how high I climb, the challenge
We're wasting time.
begins.
I've seen so much of this game, and I don't even give a single fuck. Watch someone buy this for me and I play it and I actually like it.
Through the infinite. Seeking answers. Seeking ascension.
She fully is Ronda Rousey. I can't.
My release is within this tower, and I will find it.
Thanks for wasting 2 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Oh my god, thank God. Wait, it's already out? Oh my god, y'all are so annoying.
Housemarque is bringing campaign co-op and a mysterious new survival mode to Returnal Ascension. A
Good for
free
him.
update hitting this March.
Good for him.
It's almost time to sign off, but before we do, let's get a first look at 2 brand new games coming from Square Enix.
Is that Grand Ball? Are they finally gonna release the Grand Ball game?
Is this really what you want?
And you are certain that what we are doing is best for the people of the kingdom?
I'm praying. I really want it. I've been waiting
Yes.
for it.
I suppose it would, in a sense. True.
Oh my god, I think it is.
Yes. It made me wonder. Am I still that same person?
This game was made in like 2016 and they haven't said anything on it in like years. I really hope it's Grand
The era
Ball.
of myths gives way to an era of great turmoil. The continent was ravaged by the devastating war between the Empire and the Alliance. However, one nation remained unaffected by the chaos. The Kingdom of Alatane, ward of the Augurs, looked destined to have its soil stained with the blood
I need to see a title. I don't know what this is.
We've
Stop.
finally been called up. We're up against the Empire's main army.
Okay, it's not Grand Ball. This isn't
We
it.
are to eradicate every last Imperial who comes ashore. Keep focused.
Oh, it is. Is it?
Do you really have such a yearning for war? I can't comprehend it.
So then, what shall we do now?
We're going to retake it.
This is our chance while they're all assembled.
I would Skywolf. I have before.
And crush them.
That's right. All the more reason to avoid bloodshed. It also likely means that we're in danger. I suppose it is the only way for us to survive.
Okay, close it out with a big whammy. Come on. Wait, oh my god, Lara Croft ends this direct. Oh my god, we won. I would shit. This is not Lara Croft. This was just a Square Enix show. Like, fully just all Square Enix. There's maybe one Capcom. That was it.
If the will to fight still lingers within you, then accept my offer.
That looks like
And join
Sophitia from Soul Calibur. A Naruto run? Okay, female protag lead. Love female protag. Stunning. Why are you killing a horse?
Heed my words. Ragnarok tears our world asunder.
Was that a Rathalos?
All we hold precious lies on the brink of annihilation. Become my tool of intervention and save this world from doom.
It is Valkyrie. I mean, honestly, that game could serve. I'm into that. Okay, I
Your
can't look.
efforts to remain undetected
Sorry.
are lacking.
So sorry.
Reveal yourself.
Okay, Slay Boss.
Who are you?
Yeah, so
That's all for today.
We'll
see
review.
you soon with another State of Play.
Thanks for literally 5 games. They really give us nothing in these state of plays now. They so little. Hi, Lily. Okay, so we will review. So it pretty much was nothing. I mean, I didn't really expect anything because, like, okay, let's be honest here. All of the really hyped up games are already, like, everything's already coming out and everything's already out. I don't know what they could have released here that would have made us gag. So let's review. So I think we got 6 titles. I think we got a bunch of new IPs. So this, like, was a new IP for... This was Capcom's new IP. I'm not really into it. It kind of just looks like Dinosaur Crisis, but I don't really know anything about that, so, like, work. Ghostwire Tokyo was showcased. It was just, like, lots of updates to games that are already coming out. Like, there wasn't really, like... I think the only really gaggy thing was JoJo. And then Valkyrie. But I don't think anybody was really expecting Valkyrie. Forspoken gameplay was good. Yes, we're sponsored with HelloFresh. So if you want to get 16 boxes and 3 special gifts, you can go right now with my link or my promo code. And you can get it for $35. It supports me and you. Do HelloFresh in the chat, and then you can check out. It's about $35.40. I'm not sure. I looked at it. It was around that. I'm not going to tell you that the thing is free. It's not free. Like, you have to pay for it, but it's literally a lot of stuff for that amount of, like, price. So I think that... Hello. Anyways. Yeah! I've never used HelloFresh. I mean, I did order it, I think, a month ago, and my family used it because, like, I mean, I'm just, like, I don't eat healthy. So, like, I would definitely order it if I was looking to eat healthy, which I probably will with my own promo code because, hello, it's a good deal. But I also don't have access to a kitchen either. So I think, first of all, you need a kitchen to do that in. So... I wish I'd held off on trying since yours is a way better deal than I got, period. So what do we have to review here? Nothing really. That's impressive. That's inexpensive compared to the full price. Oh yeah, if you just want to try it, I mean, try it. It's like, what? It's literally 40 bucks. Like, that's a good deal. No harm done. Oh, Ninja Turtles, like, collection thing. I don't know. It was really just the JoJo, and then That was it. This was really, like, short. There was, like, nothing in this. Ahem. I don't even have, like, live reactions. It was literally just me being like, okay. Hello, I'm stuck. I mean, I guess. And I know that everybody loves the look I'm wearing right now, but I hope you understand I'm changing before we play a game, because this outfit is very uncomfortable. I would play this. Yeah, this looks fun. I wouldn't spend money on it because I don't know really what the thing is, but it looks cute. I mean, I'm waiting for Fire Album and stuff. Like, Fire Album's like, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's like it doesn't have a lining on it, so the rhinestones are like in the sequins are cutting into my skin. So it's not comfortable, and I'm not gonna stay in it very long. But I thought I would wear it for the 20-minute presentation. Overall, okay. I would say this is, I lied. It's probably the worst state of play we've ever seen. Oops, I lied. I lied to y'all. Yeah, there's nothing redeemable about this. Yeah. I mean, comparatively to other state of plays, there really wasn't anything in this. I mean, state of play back in the day, like last year around this time, February 2021, we at least got security breach announced for FNAF. There was nothing in this, except for JoJo, and I don't even think that's like really like. Is that really a gag? Like, it's a fighting game. I would be more gagged if it was like a story-based game, you know? Like, I mean, sure, like maybe they'll have story in it. I don't know. I don't think it's really gaggy. I don't think it's really that much of a gag. We're gonna finish it today, I think, Kelsey. Am I pronouncing that right? Cal? Can I just say Cal? Or should I say Kelsey? Yeah. Oh my god, Slime Rancher 2, I forgot. I keep hitting my reflex. See, I made this nice little state of play overlay, and you disappointed me. Okay, we'll use it for other ones, but I mean, appreciate my hard work of this pretty overlay because that was a flop. I can't go high anymore. I used to be able to go really high in my voice. Like, ah! I can't go that high anymore. I'm down here. I can't get high, no. I don't smoke weed. I'm trying to make a GIF because I look very pretty. Can I steal one of your looks? What do you mean? No, you cannot rob me.